I'm trying to decipher. Kyrie Irving just tweeted a GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? What did we decide? It's GIF. Of a bird flying out of a cage. This is the level that we are at right now. So let's just set that aside for one hot second. And Dave, what progress has actually been made toward a marriage between Kyrie and the Lakers?
Checking in with Lakers sources, they believe that the domino that needs to fall first in Brooklyn is finding a trade partner for Kevin Durant.
Sure.
And until that occurs, the Kyrie Irving conversations will kind of be put on the back burner. Now, when Stephen A. puts stuff out there like, Kyrie's doing everything he can to end up in L.A., that serves two purposes. It can suppress the market for other teams that are out there in terms of what they would be willing to offer, because no one wants to have a malcontent join their operation, to certainly not give up assets that have any sort of value in order to get him on a rental, especially a rental in a situation where he doesn't want to be there. And so that can actually help the Lakers' pursuit of Kyrie in the meantime, because it makes their offer look better. Now, what can the Lakers offer? We know it's Russell Westbrook. It's the 2027 first-round pick, potentially the 2029 first-round pick. The other piece they have available is Talen Horton-Tucker. And obviously, Talen didn't have a great year last year, a lot of injuries, but he's a young, talented guard who can get into the lane, has some length defensively. And if you are a Brooklyn team going into a rebuild, that can have some value there, and perhaps it could lead to a bigger type of deal where the Lakers not only get a guy like Kyrie Irving, but what about Joe Harris? Lakers need some shooters, right? And Joe Harris has his own injury.
That would change the game.
Yeah, has his own injury problems right now, but when healthy, this guy who hits some shots.
What do you think of that, Rich?
No, I like it. We know what the Lakers need, and what they didn't have LeBron James's first year, and what they didn't, and then they won it in 2020. Their first year, they didn't have shooting. They had a ton of talent, a bunch of young players, but they didn't have shooting. Next year, they get Anthony Davis. They add some shooting. They add some pieces. Guys develop, like Alex Caruso came out of nowhere, Kyle Kuzma. So they needed those athletic wings. That's what they've brought in. They brought in some kind of utility guys. And now, if you can add in a guy that can actually shoot, and it's not even just the ability to knock down a shot, it's just the fear of it.
Yep.
They need the fear of it, and that's what they were missing last year with Russell Westbrook. And in that pick and roll with AD, they're like, hey, we're going to stay close to AD, blah, blah, blah. And even AD struggled to shoot. So adding any threat of shooting on that team, I think, goes a long way.
Plus, Darvin runs a 4-out system. You can't run a 4-out system unless you have shooters. It just won't work.
Yeah, and we saw that in Milwaukee.
Surrounding LeBron with shooters. Has any team thought of this yet in LeBron's career? Look, the KD angle is big because if whatever Brooklyn does with Durant involves DeAndre Ayton getting signed and traded to them, or any player getting signed and traded to them, they need to cut a lot of money to get under the hard cap, which you're not allowed to go over if you get a guy in a sign and trade. And part of that will be turning Kyrie Irving's salary slot into something much less than $36 million or whatever his option number is. Obviously, Russ makes more than $36 million, so that becomes problematic too. So everything is kind of lumped together. And look, we just seem to be going towards this Russ and 1 or 2 first-round picks for Kyrie, because I just don't think there's anything else out there for Kyrie, unless the nuclear option is if the Nets get really desperate and need to cut money to fit something under a hard cap, would they ever buy him out? And if they bought him out, he gets to then choose wherever he wants to go.
I don't know if he's going. And first of all, shout out to our guy Big Perk. They shout out to my guy Big Perk. No, I'm just he
asked the buyout question.
He asked the buyout question. I didn't know there was some chalk.
Question.
There was some chalk on his knuckles. My
We'll
point
get you some lotion.
My point is that we know that they do not want, ideally, Kyrie to be in that locker room on opening night. So that means, and I'm just saying, like, well, just come here and play in the Nets locker room. I think that just the energy, I think for both sides, I think everyone's looking for what they're going to do. So if you're looking at that, it's like, we don't want him there. How can we allow for us to either get a piece or else to move out? The bird is out of the cage. Is that what it is? The bird is out of the cage?
I can't play this.
I can't even know. I don't even know if it's GIF.
What
does that mean, Bert? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Like it's got some countries.
Y'all not tired of trying to figure out Kyrie or even understand Kyrie? Here's the thing. If I'm the Nets, I don't even do Kyrie Irving a favor. Like, I trade Kyrie Irving wherever the hell I want to trade him. Who's ever going to give me the best piece back that's going to benefit us? I feel like the Brooklyn Nets, they could work hand in hand with Kevin Durant. They don't have to do that with Kyrie. Kyrie didn't do nothing that they wanted him to do. He disrespected them. Why should they do him any favors?
But making a move out of spite won't help them in the long term, especially if they are trying to deal with a team again in the future.
Yeah, but Dave, this is what I'm starting to realize. I'm looking at the overall picture, and owners are getting tired. Okay, we looked at the Ben Simmons situation last year. We saw the Philadelphia 76ers and the ownership group. They stood firm and they stood on what they believed in. We watched this. We watching this happen right now. Never in our wildest dreams. The ownership group and Sean Marks, they're not begging KD to stay. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, right? We're talking about arguably the best player in the league. And they said, oh, we're going to just grant you your wish. What goes to tell me is that the owners around the league are talking, and they're about to start making a stance because guess what else is coming up? The CBA. But we saw this coming way long time ago, and owners are starting to get tired of players that are getting paid top dollars, and all of a sudden, guys like Kyrie Irving, guys like James Harden, guys like Ben Simmons is about to mess it up for the young generation.
Are we not going to include Kevin Durant in that?
How?
I've been saying he asked for a trade.
Yeah, but he showed up, man. Like, that's a whole difference.
But 48 minutes against the Bucks, he played.
But so did James Harden. So did James Harden in Houston.
James Harden showed up.
No. But it was how James Harden showed up late in training camp. It's not what you do.
I'm talking about over the course of his time in
agree.
Houston, he did everything.
But we got to go. We got to go
to
to Bucks.
Oh yeah, you don't want to argue that obvious incorrection.
Today is welcome back to the NBA Today free agency special. So we began our show talking about the blockbuster Rudy Gobert trade, and when you're looking at that many picks, that's what Rudy Gobert commanded. The natural next question, Zach, is what the heck is Kevin Durant going to take to get him moved? We know that Brooklyn isn't necessarily in a rush here. They want to see the best packages. They have a little bit of leverage in that way. Fictional guys, Perk, what is the trade package that you think that you would like to see or that you think Kevin Durant could command?
Well, real quick, right? I mean, they had to throw in a lot of picks because they didn't throw in an all-star caliber player. So I think you have to throw in a lot of picks as far as the Utah Jazz situation. But if I'm like the Atlanta Hawks and you just got Murray, I'm giving up Hunter and Collins and figuring out some other pieces, maybe picks that the Hawks may have for Kevin Durant. Why not? I'm moving Collins and Hunter. Hunter is becoming one of the better two-way players in the game today. He could possibly be a future all-star in the near future. Collins, we know what he could bring to the table. He showed us that he's capable of averaging 19 and 8 a night. He just don't fit well alongside Trae Young. But if I'm the Hawks, why not? Why not? Kevin Durant, Murray, Trae Young. Sounds good to me.
What sounds good to you, Zach?
So I thought about this more from the Nets' perspective than from the other team's perspective. And to me, I said this yesterday, I said this before Kevin Durant got traded. My first call is to the Toronto Raptors, and I'm asking for Scotty Barnes as the centerpiece of a Kevin Durant trade. And Scotty Barnes is Rookie of the Year, could be a future, I don't know, but there's no ceiling on Scotty Barnes. Could be a future 8-time All-Star or something like that. That's worth, I don't know how many draft picks that's worth, 3-4 draft picks. So I'm going Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., need a little salary cap filler, and then maybe we'll go 2 picks and 3 swaps, 3 swaps and 2 picks, and I can hear Toronto people saying we're not giving up Scotty Barnes. That's too much.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah, they say that they didn't want to give up DeMar DeRozan, and they got Kawhi Leonard.
Then you don't get Kevin Durant. The sticking point for me becomes if the Nets have so much leverage and so much interest in Kevin Durant that in addition to Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent, I've got to throw in an Anunoby or something like that. And at that point, Kevin Durant's coming to a team that has now been not crippled, but sort of devastated by the bounty going out. Does he have enough there to win? So I think Trent Barnes picks is the sweet spot where he can go to Toronto and look around and say, we can win the championship with this roster. And if you can win the championship, you got to at least have a meeting about it, no matter how much you love Scotty Barnes.
What say you?
I like that a lot. I do. And I love Scotty Barnes. I'm not exactly sure what his ceiling ultimately will be offensively. I think he could be an all-league defender. And offensively, maybe he gets in that 18, 20-point range. I want more offensively. So I'm looking at New Orleans. Said it yesterday. I thought about this last night. Believe it or not, guys, I thought about this at the hotel.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You would ask me that question.
I didn't just clock out.
They asked me that question. They go, you had 24 hours to think about it. And I'm like, I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
You were
I didn't clock out.
You were at the anime.
Yeah, I was at the
All right,
anime.
so
Weird stuff.
And here's what I thought. The more I thought about this, You got to get me a 24-year-old dude that can average 23 to 25 points a game to anchor my offense around for who knows how far out into the future. He has emerged. He's an all-star. He's a guy that ultimately has all-league capable offensive ability. In addition, you probably throw in a Larry Nash Jr., and then we start talking picks. How many picks? I don't know. 2, 3, 4, maybe every pick going forward for the rest of that organization's future. I don't know how many. Put the number on. If Gobert got 4, then let's say 3 or 4.
They got a lot of extra ones from the Lakers.
Every pick.
3 or 4 picks, but Brandon
Brandon
Ingram is the guy in my crosshairs if I'm Sean Marks. I want Brandon Ingram, and then figure out what other young player and picks.
All right, so then we have to bring in the adults in the room and say, okay, so what of this is actually possible? Front office insider Bobby Marks. Yeah, Richard, just stop.
We've already seen some of Bobby's work.
Where is Richard's?
Well, what I was going to do is I was
don't
going to
wanna hear it.
critique everybody's like package.
That's